Seventh wall.
Right. And we are recording. And I am checking out the YouTubes right now. This will be an interesting show tonight. Hey, we had
I see it.
4 of our episodes were banned. That's awesome.
I blame Mark totally.
What?
Such a potty mouth.
Yeah.
What? They weren't banned for that. Twitter?
Yeah. There we go. I'm switching to night mode.
Night mode.
They changed it for YouTube for gamers.
Because it's always dark and everybody's pale, so they don't want a bright light shining in their face.
Right.
It's color calibrated to match your Mountain Dew bottle.
Well, okay. So this.
Hey, kids. How about some pork products?
Some pork products.
A really bad Krusty the Crown impression. I think that's way worse than my Doc Brown impression.
Hold on, guys.
Yeah? What do you got?
What?
Uh-oh. It's trouble in paradise.
It's just starting right now. They're telling me you owe this money for a finder's fee. For our neighbor. Yeah. Huh?
What are they talking about?
I don't know. Andy Ballman just joined the chat.
Man, I need to send him my Tempest goodies.
Good. Well, it's 7:15. We should get this show on the road.
I think so. I think that'd be a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys, this is gonna be a great show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
We're 1 minute behind, ladies. Do you want to
All right.
spin up all the...
Oh, sure. Everybody hold tight. Here we go. This is the last episode of the show for this season.
From KOYR Studios in Minneapolis, Minnesota, it's Arcade Radio.
Hello, Commander. Computer reporting.
Intruder alert, intruder alert. Welcome to episode 24 and the season finale of Arcade Radio.
Today is September 28th, 2017, and the time is now approximately 7:15 p.m. Central. Thanks for joining us in the Arcadosphere for one last episode of this season. This is your host, Adam Stevens.
And once again, I'm joined by the legendary Dan Reed.
And Mark ain't got no time running for that Shields.
And the final guest of the Arcade Radio Podcast for Season 1
is absolutely no one.
That was awesome.
Time on your hands.
Too much time on your hands.
I was going to join in, but
I think we do that every time.
Yeah, you could do the high parts, Mark. I could do the low part. Too much time on my hands.
yeah, I'm the high pitch guy. If we were to ever join a Bee Gees, tribute band,
Oh, Bee Gees. I could be. Well, I couldn't be any of them. Damn it.
Dave from Buffalo says, I am here in a casino playing Texas Hold'em tourney right now.
Don't lose, Dave.
And he says, the intro music is getting me pumped. Next hand, I'm all in.
He's gonna bet the full 20.
He just said, Cade, I folded.
I just won myself $8.
Dave usually does go to Grinker, so maybe we'll get to see him and hang out.
That'd be awesome. Ooh.
Is Dave going to be there? Speak up, Dave.
He's been there the last 2 times I've been.
Huh. I'd like that.
I'd like that too.
I like it a lot.
I was thinking about you the other day, Marcus. I was setting up my home streaming for all my movies, and I just randomly picked one, and it was Napoleon Dynamite.
Ah, yes.
I couldn't stop watching it.
Napoleon, give me some of your tots.
No.
How did anyone really ever know that?
He doesn't say God. He never takes the Lord's name in vain.
He does not. That movie is very G-rated. It's incredible.
Yep. He only says gosh. An idiot.
Gosh.
I hadn't noticed this before, and I actually had seen the movie in the theater, and I'd also seen it, 800 times, but I had no idea who the girl on the bike was at the end of the movie.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that like his ex or something?
Yeah. I had to look it up on Wikipedia. It's Tammy.
Oh, you know the girl, what's her name? The main character girl who's the photographer.
Tina
Margarino?
That's not Tina.
Who, by the way, never talks to me every time I go to an event with my van.
So she was the little girl in Waterworld.
Yeah, I found that out too when I was looking up the Uncle Rico ending.
Huh. I found that out when I watched Waterworld last week.
And Uncle Rico is, God dang it,
John Grease.
Yeah.
Are you going to say something about him being in True Genius, or what's the name of it?
Yes, Real Genius. He was Laszlo. He was Laszlo.
That's right.
Yeah, of course.
I had no idea.
So many people are surprised to learn that.
Pretty sure we mentioned that before.
We have?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think so.
Go back to like episode 4.
No.
Yeah.
We both agree.
Yeah.
Mentioned.
I think
I would have remembered that because I love Real Genius. Hey, is Kelsey in the chat tonight?
Casey is not in the chat. So
that son of a bitch.
All right. So there's no guests tonight. We have no guests. That means that we're gonna probably end up interviewing each other.
And we have no class.
Well, speak for yourself. Yeah. It's okay. Mark and I will stand in class.
I'm excited to do whatever we're doing. So,
me too.
Yeah.
It's weird not having a guest. It's also a lot less painful in many ways.
To finally come together as a group at Grinkers.
Yeah. So, what are we working on, guys?
Mark?
Well, I pulled my Hellifier out. I cleaned it and I rotated the monitor. It's an all original cabinet.
Yeah.
The harness hasn't been too hacked up. And I'd purchased the control panel for $500 off eBay and a PCB for $200.
Go on.
The game is $200. I sold all the Popeye BS that was on it.
Yes, go on.
Wait, what are we doing?
I don't know.
Anyway, I had to create some harnesses today. So for like 3 or 4 hours, while my job was preparing to release all the code we've written, I created it and the game fired up and it works. So it's pretty cool. I don't have a way to play it. I need to.
Sorry. Mike Martin in the chat just said Kelsey is not in here.
No Kelsey.
We got everybody calling him Kelsey.
I call him Kelsey on Twitter.
Which is going to, like, everybody's like talking about it now. He's not even in the chat to defend himself.
Okay, guys, back to me.
Yep,
so,
sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
So Hellifire's working. I also have a Namco 20th reunion that I got that was just messed up by, it was under 2.5 feet of water.
Oh.
And I'm working on that outside. There's just a lot of sanding, a lot of wood hardening.
See, it's interesting that you mentioned that because Hurricane Harvey has me extremely skeptical of buying video games right now.
But you're You're in the middle of the Midwest. There's no-
I'm talking, when
Says
you need
the
a
guy
part,
that-
when you need a part, you could be
Yeah.
getting it from Texas.
Says the guy that like comes across all these stupid deals. Not
What?
looking,
I
not
do
looking.
not.
Oh yeah. Let's just talk
No.
about a few of them, like Black
No,
Widow.
I don't have
Let's
any
talk
deals.
What's that Tron Cabaret you got?
What do you mean? I sold that to Fetish Boy.
Where'd you get it from?
Rusty Quarters.
Oh God.
Yeah, I did.
Ugh,
Wasn't that funny?
nightmare. I wish I
Anybody
had bought
anybody that's listening to this show that doesn't know the history of Rusty Quarters, Google it. It's worth your time.
Or if you don't have a Clav account, get one and read the fun.
I have this theory that guy who ran Rusty Quarters.
Sage.
Yeah. Does he listen to the show?
No.
I mean, are you friends?
No. I mean, we could be friends, but we're not.
He was kind of weird. He had a lot of weird things about kids. Like he didn't want them in the. He made up laws that didn't exist. I looked them up and they weren't there. And then he got mad at me. And
Yeah.
it's like,
Really?
Yeah, he also kicked my friend Kurt out for using a pencil on his track and field. Like a little...
Oh, wow.
Wooden
Like he was
tool.
going to ruin the button. Or
really?
Yeah, he was like, you got to stop that or I'm going to have to ask you to leave. So...
I went to his house and I was...
Asked to take your pants off? What?
Whoa! Red light! Red light!
I don't wanna.
Let's go back to Hellfire because I'm interested in this. This is kind of a rarity that I'm not sure anybody has really played
No,
at all. I mean, even the main version. What's the deal with that? Like,
Well, even the main version doesn't
something's
have
wrong
the
with it.
audio. It's so strange. And so, yeah, I mean, obviously my monitor is going to need a cap kit. It's like an earlier version of the Sanyo 20EZ. I think it's called the DZL or
Yeah,
like-
the Hellfire story is good. That's on an earlier episode too.
Little DZ.
Little DZ. But today, I mean, I finally went in, rotated it. They didn't really have to do too much to rotate it so that they could play Popeye on it. I'm really happy that Popeye bootleg also had the reverse video, so that was fun. I didn't have to do anything bizarre.
So, yeah, we're going to okay, so anyway, that's cool.
Yes.
Is that
What about you? What are you guys doing?
Well, I have my last couple weeks have been kind of boring for me. So, last weekend I finished organizing about 1,800 45s, 7-inch singles. So now I can swap music out of my jukebox whenever I want to, and as long as I keep it in order. There's 12 long boxes of 45s, pretty much full.
God, I wish I had that kind of time you have.
Oh,
Now,
I got Christine to help me. I spent 2
did you
weekends
organize
doing
them by color or by manufacturer?
Alphabetically by artist, alphabetically by song. I mean, come on, be clear here.
Detail.
Alphabetically by artist. And then I have a soundtrack section, a novelty section, and then yeah, that's it. So
I'm texting my wife. Can you bring me a strong beer? Adam is getting super exciting now.
How's Dave doing? Is he up or what? Come on, Dave, report back.
What are you talking about? So
Dave Buffalo.
That's all I've been working on. And I'm pulling the metals off Mousetrap to be powder coated.
Oh, I did that. That was awesome. I still haven't put it back together yet.
Well, maybe you can send me your parts and I'll put them on mine, and then I'll just.
It was hard because I had to buy. Actually, Kelsey provided some of the similar parts that I.
Oh my
was
God,
using.
you bought something from Kelsey?
I did. He was really. He actually.
He went to
gave me
prison,
some
you know.
things. What?
Yes.
I owe Kelsey a lot.
He's
And so
a prisoner.
I'm gonna text him right now.
I owe him. I should buy him a beer and sandwich.
Well, I told him he could call. I don't know why he doesn't call in. I think he's afraid.
Can people call in while the show is going? No,
Sure
leave
they
voicemails. Yeah, they leave voicemails.
We could send him a link.
We'll never get him off.
What did he do? He had something kind of impressive. I saw it on Twitter. I was kind of surprised that I was impressed.
I just sent him a message. It says,
Oh, he's got he's sitting in his home theater. He's got a really nice home theater setup from the looks of it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Good job, Kelsey.
It's gonna be a running gag from now on.
Randall Gelking says he's gonna chat and drive if that's okay with everyone.
Go ahead.
Oh my gosh. We have the best chatters. They're so chatty. So, Dan, the man, what you been working on?
Listen, guys, there isn't really enough time to discuss all the cool things that have been going on with me lately. So we'll try to cover some things, but you're just going to have to interrupt. So we'll start with today.
Oh, go ahead.
I picked up a popcorn machine today. Okay.
Like automatic?
To put in your arcade?
Yeah. So we have a home theater giant projection screen on one side of the arcade. And we had like this, you've seen it, Adam. You remember where my little Donkey Kong cabaret used to be?
Theatercade.
Yeah. So it's a theatercade. And then I turned that other back room into, that's where I am right now. That's where I've got a bunch of games in there and my little studio here and all that. But so we went and picked up this. My wife found it. She wanted it really bad. So she finds this garage sale. And at the back of the garage sale, there's this gold medal 1989 popcorn machine. Okay. And it's really, really super nice. And for anybody that doesn't know and hasn't done the research, if you just buy some crap ass popcorn machine, it's going to rust on you like in months. So you can't buy these new garbage ones that are out. You have to literally buy a really expensive one because they have stainless steel on the top and the bottom, and there are no plastic parts in it, stuff like that, whatever. So we end up finding this really nice deal on a popcorn machine and a cart. So my wife texts this lady, and she texts me at work, and she's like, "We got to go get this popcorn machine tonight." I'm like, okay, whatever. Okay. So we end up driving up to Anoka. And if you guys don't know where that is, I live about an hour away from Anoka. So I'm not real pleased about it.
I call it Anoka.
Anoka, yeah, sure.
Are you going to Anoka?
Well, you got a casserole? So we get up there and start talking to this guy, and he's kind of an older guy, and you can tell he's a car guy. He's got a Corvette back end hung in his garage, and he's got I don't know. He had like a sleigh, like a full-size sleigh that he'd found that was from the 1800s he was restoring. And as I'm loading this thing up, he's like, I'm surprised that, he said we had a lot of people interested in this, but what are you going to do with it? And I said, I'm going to put it in my arcade. He's like, oh, I got a couple arcade machines in the basement. You want to take a look at them?
Oh, man.
So I'm like, what are you doing with them? He goes, they've been sitting there for 20 years. I bought them brand new. I haven't touched them. I don't know. I go, what are they? He goes, let's go take a look. So he's heads down there. He's got like a $5,000 Wurlitzer bubbling jukebox thing. And I don't know anything about jukeboxes. So everyone out there that's pulling their hair out right now, sorry, I don't know anything about them.
They bubble.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he's got a Donkey Kong Jr. tabletop that has never even had a quarter in it. It looks like it just rolled off the factory floor. Like the legs were chrome and shiny. And he's got a Phoenix tabletop. Cocktail. And he's got a Pac-Man, and he's like, yeah, I don't really know what I want to do with these things. I'm like, well, you could sell them. He's like, yeah, maybe I will. So, but I didn't have any room for it, so I gave him my number, and I might go back there and snake a couple of those. I don't know.
Cool.
Particularly the Pac-Man. I'm surprised that that's the one game that I've owned that I sort of wish I had back.
Is that a upright Pac-Man?
Yeah. Upright.
Nice.
Sweet.
I know I do miss mine, but I like the fact that I can go visit Adam and play it.
Yeah.
Which one now? Mine. Yeah.
Kind of a fan of the Pac-Man game.
It's fun. Yeah. I have 3. I never thought I would have 3 Pac-Man games.
So then I had Chris Rhodes out because I had my Journey put together and the monitor was just borked. Like the green was cranked and the vertical shift was off and the horizontal hold was rolling, and it's hard to do by yourself. So called him up. He came over and we hung out for a day and drank beer and rejuvened my monitor and kind of ended up putting Journey back together. So
sweet.
Yeah. So it's all together and it looks amaze balls. So I'm pretty happy with myself about that.
I love amaze balls. They taste so good.
And then I started pulling out the parts for my cloak and dagger. So that's my next little put it back together thing that I'm doing.
Oh, maze balls are not corn balls, I'm told.
No. Are they... Is a maze involved in your amaze ball? I don't know. Okay, never mind.
And then I've been looking for months, or maybe even longer, maybe like a year. I restored this Krull, but it was originally a Krull, actually.
Oh, I got the Krull soundtrack last week.
Yeah, I saw that. I think you texted me a picture of it, as a matter of fact.
Yes, I did.
So anyway, I spent a lot of time restoring this stupid Krull, but as it turns out, they, and by they I mean Gottlieb arcade machines, have some really ridiculously proprietary black shroud that goes over the monitor, and not just anything will do. So I've been on the hunt for one of these things for a long time. Someone posted on Clov that they were parting out a Qbert machine. So I pinged him right away, and he's like, oh yeah, you can have it. So now I have that coming and the glass, which is pretty sweet.
Nice. I like your story.
Thanks.
Gosh.
Are they shipping USPS or UPS? No.
Someone got the food.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow.
I could go on, boys. I have more.
I bet you could, but let's over to you, Dan Reed, with this week's and this season's final news segment.
It's the Arcade News with Dan Reed.
Is he still there?
What's really funny is that like my watch just vibrated and told me it's time to leave for Arcade Radio to get there on time. I don't know why. Ooh, that's funny. Oh, that's because
I think we're just gonna make it about.
I'll tell you what. I'll do the first
Radio.
one.
You want to do the first one?
Yeah.
I'm looking at it. I'm not really a big fan of Rocket League, so let's just skip
not just
Rocket
about you,
League.
Dan, is it? So via Steam, Rocket League is going to release.
I don't like this.
Yeah, obviously.
Who else is in the Steam room? Tell me.
Negative news with Dan Reed.
That thing is horrid. It's horrid. I can't imagine people are using it, but that thing is horrid.
Do you have to?
Such a
I want to hear you do that in the elevator, Dan. Just one
that
time.
thing is horrid. I'll do it at Grinkers.
Yes.
So via Steam, Rocket League is releasing its fall update tomorrow. Rocket League's autumn update adds brand new arenas, gameplay tweaks, and a massive volume of free items. A new seasonal arena called Farmstead will be introduced, where matches occur in a field surrounded by crops and farmland. Moo! There are 90-plus items players can equip their vehicles with. Items range from pinwheels to tiny little bunnies riding on top of your car, and a new Taco Boost special effect, which I can't wait for. And Rocket League is also introducing new banners which surround your name after a goal to make your enemies even more angry as you replay your score. And the most awaited feature, I think, for me and my family is that we're going to be able to play this LAN play on PC they're supporting now. So you'll be able to play a local game instead of having to log on to their servers. So that should be a lot of fun.
The non-arcade news with Adam.
I did not know this game existed. It is vehicular soccer? Nobody does that. Come on.
Yep, I'd agree.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Check how many downloads, dude.
I know, but the last time I was driving and a soccer ball came in the middle of the road, I ran over it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you would have lost the game. Yep. It's not just vehicular soccer. It's hoops. You're going to play a little basketball.
With your car?
And hockey with your car. Yeah, it's actually a lot of fun.
Dave for Buffalo, this one's for you, buddy. The next Pac-Man game is skipping the arcade and heading straight to where?
The casino!
Yes!
What is this? Actually pissed me off.
While companies like Nintendo and Atari have found more living room friendly ways to cash in on millennial nostalgia, Slot machine manufacturer Gambit Gambling is.
Wait a
hoping-
second. Can we
They
just,
don't have nostalgia yet.
yeah, can we just pause for a second? First of all, and how do they have nostalgia for a casino? Most of them are just about.
Or
Like,
just
can't even get
anybody.
there.
They're all 30. Come on.
It's like.
I remember back in.
Do you remember 11 years ago when I went to the casino?
Yeah. Remember before iPhone 1?
Episode. Yeah. The iPhone 1.
Fail.
Slot machine manufacturer Gambit Gambling is hoping to use fond video game memories from the millennials
Oh, they've been doing this for ages. They
as a way to attract younger folks.
there is like a Superman themed slot machine now. I mean, they do.
I've seen that. It's
Yeah.
been out for like 3 or 4 years, actually.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of games like that where they're trying. They're want us to sit down and play them.
I do it. I love the Wonder Woman one.
Oh yeah.
Plays the classic Wonder Woman stuff.
Oh, I saw that at Mystic Lake.
Oh, by the
So
way,
good.
we got in trouble. 4 of our episodes are currently unavailable on YouTube. By the way.
I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
Who
We'll fix
cares?
that.
Yeah, we're fixing it. It's exciting.
Wait, how's that related to Wonder Woman?
Oh, because I was gonna
well-
play the theme, but then I thought maybe we'd get this
5
episode banned.
Don't worry about it. 5 seconds. Go.
Yeah. You want me
Here,
to?
I'll do it. Dun 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 dun. Wonder Woman. There we
That's
go.
pretty good. That was
That's
really
the
good.
idea behind Pac-Man Battle Casino.
Oh,
That's right. Pac-Man Battle Casino, an upcoming gambling machine both developed and manufactured by Gambit through a partnership, which means pay us a lot of money,
Yeah.
with Namco. The game itself is loosely based on the arcade game Pac-Man. Loosely based.
And when I say loosely, I mean loosely.
It pretty much just has Pac-Man somewhere in the title.
Yeah.
And will pit 2 to 4 better players against one another to win the pot.
You're gonna win
What does
pot?
that mean?
Is this game gonna be used in Denver?
Colorado? I was just there.
What does that mean? Does that mean you go to this and then if you play Pac-Man and you're the
You win
champion,
pot.
you win the pot?
You
I
win
don't understand how you can gamble with. I guess they have to buy in. Who knows?
the reefer.
This is something for season 2 to get in a little bit more deeper.
The schnozberries taste like schnozberries.
That's one of my favorite movies.
Whoever heard of a schnozberry?
What's the last news item?
That Arcade Radio staff is locked and loaded for the tourney. The
Yeah.
Arcade Radio team is proud of their first season of episodes. We're locked and loaded for the upcoming Grinkfest that will be held at Grinker's Grand Palace in Eagle, Idaho.
Idaho.
Yeah, Idaho. The weekend of Friday the 13th. Oh, snap.
Leave your lives at home.
Anyway, we're going to record an episode there, and it will air at the end of October, which will kick off the second season of the Arcade Radio Podcast.
Now somebody.
In the meantime, though, I just want to encourage
Yeah.
all of our listeners to come out there and meet us. I will shake your baby and sign your hand.
Well, Andrew did ask about the season thing. What are we doing with that? And I had to respond to him. The season idea is just to separate content and to give us time to refresh. So we'll be taking a few weeks off after this episode, and I'll catch up with editing, get things loaded on iTunes so we can hit season 2 running at the end of October with some new ideas and new guests. Tonight, though, we're going to recap the year for a bit.
What?
We're gonna recrap.
We're gonna recap.
That's
We're gonna
about right
recap
for
it.
our show.
Yeah, tonight we're gonna recap a little bit, talk about what we liked, and interview each other.
Yeah.
It will be like every episode, and like no episode you've heard before. Dun dun dun. And
Dun,
that's
dun, 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 dun.
and that is the negative news with Dan Reed.
That thing is horrid. It's horrid. I can't imagine people are using it, but whatever.
Back in '82, I used to be able to throw a pigskin quarter mile.
Back to the Cade with Time Runner.
Why are things so heavy in the future? Is there a problem with the Earth's gravitational pull?
Hey! Arcade Radio. Our Wayback Machine is set to September 28th, which is today, 1982. Is it really September 28th today? Is that true?
That is a fact.
Louise.
2 more
Got
days
lost.
left.
I've lost all track of time because, I did Hurricane Harvey here in Texas, and then I went to Florida and did Hurricane Irma Luckily, there were no hurricanes when I was in Colorado.
You look like you're having fun out there in Disney.
I did, and they, I gave them like a little sad story about how we didn't get to really use up all the days, and they gave me another day. They gave me another like free pass.
Nice.
Those guys are awesome. Hey, let's talk about the arcade technology news on September 28th, 1982. This is awesome. I didn't realize this. Namco released Pole Position in 1982, one of the first games with stereophonic and quadraphonic sound. I'm assuming the quadraphonic sound is in the cockpit.
I didn't know that.
Features a pseudo 3D third-person rear view perspective, and it became the most popular racing game of its time, rather. Yeah, the cockpit, there's speakers behind you and in front of you, and they're definitely stereo on both sides. It's a trip, actually.
What does quadraphonic mean? Does that mean it just has some sort of delay between the front and the back?
No, it just means four distinct channels. They actually used to have quadraphonic 4-track tapes.
Yeah. I remember seeing quadraphonic. I just didn't really necessarily. So it was pretty much surround sound before surround sound.
Correct.
Yep. Interesting.
Yep. Yeah. And then
Pole
surround
Position
sound
has quadraphonic sound. I did not know that.
It was quadraphonic, then there was surround sound, then Dolby surround sound, and then there was like AC3, which became Dolby Digital, and then DTS, and now you have like, all that stuff.
I'm awake again. Hey, the box office. September 28, 1982. The Amityville 2, The Possession, the classic that we all watch on an annual basis. It bumped E.T. the Extraterrestrial for just 1 week. And I remember all my friends in high school, I guess at the time, junior high, they were like talking about how badass Amityville 2 was compared to the first one. And there was like a thing in the basement. I don't remember anything else, but I didn't get to watch it. My parents were like, "You're not going to get to watch that."
The biggest disappointment about Amityville, boys? When the guy was laying on his deathbed, he admitted it was all a fake.
Oh
man, don't tell me that.
Oh yeah,
oh, man.
Fake. On his deathbed.
I did not know that. You've destroyed my childhood, Dan Reed.
You're welcome.
I think I'll be all right. What was on TV that day? And this is funny. It's never been I guess back then it was a Tuesday night. Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, and Three's Company were on ABC. And that was probably the best stuff that was on.
Come and knock on our door.
Come on, knock on our door. We've been waiting for you.
Rip. John
Have we?
Ritter.
Oh, John Ritter. If he could have only...
He would have been awesome today.
He could have had another role in the new It.
Ugh.
He could have been the clown.
Ugh.
He didn't even need makeup.
Tim Curry was pretty young when he did that, though. So
was he? I don't know.
Yeah, he was really young.
Comparatively young. Hey, not much else was actually good on the other channels. Have you ever heard of Bring 'Em Back Alive? That was on CBS. I have no idea what that means.
No, I don't think I've ever heard of that.
It was on, it was Bring 'Em Back Alive night at CBS. And I'm like, wow, that one did not stick.
Weird.
1980, that wasn't the Iran-Contra thing, was it?
82.
I love Contra. That's an awesome game.
No.
God. Who was Oliver North's secretary? Because she was hot. That's a good bit of trivia.
Oliver North's secretary?
Yeah, the redheaded girl. I had a big, huge crush on her. I actually have met Oliver North. He spoke at my college.
I met him too.
Oh, God.
I sure did. I was at a church camp, though.
It's funny because I went to a Baptist college. He must have done a lot of that stuff.
I was in Manitou Springs, California, Colorado in 1990, and that's when I met him. I have a picture of him with me, and I have his autograph.
Right, we got to put this up online somewhere. We'll do that.
I posted the autograph like a year ago on Facebook.
God,
that's funny.
What do they say
of all the people you could meet?
I don't know. Well, there's a bunch of stuff. The shout out was for playing video poker. That's what David from Buffalo is saying.
Yeah, video
He says
poker.
it's pretty good. He says the seat that he just sat in was so warm, the dude must have been here for out. Oh, Randall Gelking knows it. Fawn Hall. That's right, Fawn Hall.
Oh, God.
Way to Google while driving, Randy.
That's amazing.
I know. Googling and driving is very difficult.
So on the last network, NBC, they were only playing Father Murphy. Oh, wait, wasn't Father Murphy the guy from Happy Days? That doesn't seem right. Wait,
I don't
Father
know.
Murphy? No, that was some guy with a beard. Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay, last section for my way back, September 28th, 1982. Let's talk about the top 10 songs. I have to expand it since there's no real guest, and we're gonna have to fill this thing up with something. And I'm telling Adam, you can only play like 15 seconds or 10 seconds of these guys. Play it really quiet. We have to talk
I'm
over
gonna turn
it.
it down. I'm gonna turn it down just a little bit. Okay, ready?
Okay, number 10, Love is in Control. Finger on the Trigger by Donna Summer.
Okay, that's enough.
That's not even 10 seconds, buddy.
I don't even recognize this song.
Oh, I know that song.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do.
There.
But I have this, I don't know if you guys know this about me. You can pretty much play any song, and all I really need is like a millisecond of it, and I can tell you what it is, what album it came off of, that kind of thing. I'm like the trivia guru with that kind of stuff. Only with music, though. Only with music.
Only with music. So I couldn't show you like one of the first 79 episodes of the original Star Trek series.
No.
I do know this girl that can do that. Her name is Beth Death.
I could take both of those. I'll take both those Pepsi challenges. I'll challenge. I'll tell you what. At Greenfest, I will challenge Dan to Mark. You come up with a list of songs. We'll play. I don't know. Let's say 3 or 4 seconds, and we'll buzz in. And
I'll do it. I'll put them on cassette tape and walk around with a Walkman the whole time.
And then whoever gets, let's do 10 songs. Best of 10. Whoever does it is the best.
Can I pick any year? How are you brushed up on your 1922 hits?
It has to be.
No. I'll go 1970 to 1992.
Let's just do 82. We'll pick sometime earlier in the year or something.
All right, sounds good.
All right, so now's your time to start studying.
Okay.
Number 9 was "Hurt So Good" by John Cougar.
You know this song like in the first few bars.
Of course. Da-da, da-da. Yeah. Woo!
I'm a fan of number 8, by the way, boys.
Well, it's a good thing I dug it up because I didn't even own it.
Oh, that's good. Let's
Really?
go right to it.
Dang.
I love it. "Somebody's Baby" by Jackson Browne.
Reminds me of Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah, I know. It was actually from the movie, I think, The Last American Virgin.
Really?
I mean, unless it was Fast Times at Ridgemont High that I'm remembering.
Yeah, Jennifer Jason Leigh was getting nailed to this song in the dugout.
Oh, you're right. That's what it is. I think I'm thinking of "Making It." "Who Can It Be Now" by Men at Work was number 7.
Love it.
Yeah, one of my all-time favorite albums. Beginning to end, the whole album just rules.
"Who Can It Be Knocking at My Door?" Okay, number 6, "Eye in the Sky" by the Alan Parsons Project. Why did he go make his own project? God, Alan.
And why did he leave us with this turd of a song?
I love the song.
You like turds.
Oh, that's kind of cool. I like that.
It's a good song. Next.
Now, I don't know if we remember this. "You Should Hear How She Talks About You" by Melissa
should
Manchester.
hear how she talks
about you.
Apparently this is just a bunch of synth. There we go.
Melissa crossed over.
Yep. Whoa.
Oh man, that's awesome. Oh, that's good, Dan. You gave me a whoa.
That was me.
Ah, crap.
I don't even know what
Take
that
it
is. I'm
back.
too old.
Eye of the Tiger by Survivor was number 4. Scotty Brothers, what is this?
That's the
That's
label.
the label.
Man.
Oh, dang, really?
Don't you remember Scotty Brothers? They had the two lion heads.
No. Yeah. We've had this song on too. We have an overlap in our music for the first
we
time.
have done that. They're making another Rocky movie. What the heck are they calling them now?
Oh, come on, Rocky Balboa.
Are they really?
Yeah, they just made another one, but it's
Oh no.
yeah, but they changed the name of it. It's Apollo. Creed. Creed was
They already made that. That's already out on DVD.
Yeah, but they're gonna make Creed 2.
Oh god.
And Creed 2 is gonna involve
Let it go.
Dolph Lundgren.
What? Is he gonna come back and play Drogo?
I hope so.
That
Or
would
maybe
be-
he's gonna
that would be
train
cool.
somebody else, and then
I'm going to come back for a rematch, Rocky Balboa. You're going to have big trouble on
I will
hands.
crush you.
I'm going to have my trainee against your trainee, Rocky Balboa.
I must break you.
It's gonna be awesome, dude. I
I'll
must
break
break you. That's it.
This is
Hey,
Dan's
number
favorite
3,
song.
This is a sappy one. I'm hard.
Oh.
It's hard. It's so hard.
I'm hard to say. I'm sorry.
No, I'm hard.
It's so hard. Wait. No, Hard to Say I'm Sorry by Chicago.
Terrible.
I can barely hear it.
I'm of the unpopular opinion that Chicago is a giant turd of a band.
I learned how to play so many Chicago songs on piano, and I got so many girls because of it. I just cannot.
Yeah, you played Wishing You Were Here. That's what you were playing.
No. Is Wishing You Here? That's not a Chicago song, is it?
Yes, it is. Don't doubt me, brother. What's that Peter
Take a
Cetera
look at that.
clown?
Hey, Peter Cetera is still touring.
So's Kiss.
That would be a great double feature.
Double features.
Yes.
I like double features.
Little Ditty. About
Yeah, number two, Jack and Diane by John Cougar. Yeah.
That's it. That's all I'm playing.
Yeah, that's
Good, thank you.
I'm the bass guitar player. I'm sure that was like his favorite part. For one, Abracadabra by the Steve Miller Band.
Yeah. Well, I wonder how long that was at number 1.
Sounds
Couple weeks maybe.
I was thinking about you guys today, by the way, when it comes to top 10 songs, by the way. Yeah.
So you guys, can I just say something about this song real quick?
No, I'm in the middle of something.
I think
here.
it's really
Can
important.
you just go out in your doghouse? Come on.
I don't have a doghouse. I'm never in the doghouse.
What are you gonna say?
Oh,
yeah, go.
Abracadabra is one of my earliest memories in an arcade. Showbiz Pizza.
Nice.
Played this song on a jukebox. It was not unlike the one I have today. So
as I was driving into my long hour-and-a-half commute to work and back today, I was listening to one of those talk shows, and it turns out ELO has never had a number 1 hit either. They've had the most top 10 hits. I think they had 40 top 10 hits or something like that, but they've never had a number 1 hit. And I thought immediately of our conversation about Journey.
yeah,
I thought
That's
ELO
terrible.
and Journey have both been slighted.
So speaking of
Springsteen has never had a number 1 single. In America.
who?
Bruce Springsteen.
Well, that makes sense. He's a turkey.
Hey, so Gary Newman actually just put out an album, and he was back in the UK top 10. He was the number 2 single. Number 2 album that came out. He has not been in the top 10 since the 80s.
Yeah, I'm just gonna call you out on this, Mark. You got to quit retweeting that guy. He scares me.
You love it,
He dressing up like Mad Max, and
dude. He's been doing this forever.
every time I see one of your tweets, I just shake my head. I'm like, dude, do not encourage him.
Dude, that's funny. Now
Don't
I'm like,
encourage him.
now I have to like engage. Am I gonna like affect Dan somehow?
Remember, Dan lives in
I
white
don't
bread
know where
America.
Dan is. He's in Carver. I don't want him to be upset.
He's worried what the neighbors think of his truck.
I don't even know what he drives.
What?
He drives a Ford.
Well, I mean, we always drove Uncle Rico's van.
I drive an F-150.
Do you?
Yeah, I got myself a Ford F-150.
Oh, do you really? I've never seen that. You have to send me a picture.
I have a Ford Edge.
I have a
Ford
Toyota
people.
Prius with a trailer on
What
it.
does my wife have? She has an Escape.
Escape.
Escape. She likes it.
So, should we check the voicemail?
Oh
Yeah, that's
please.
the end of the. That's the end of my segment. Go for it.
All right. That's good. Try that again.
I don't hear anything.
I don't hear anything either.
Hey, Arcade Radio duders.
Duders.
Have I called you that yet? I don't think I have. I just figured it's radio, not ratio.
I think
can't
this is
believe that. I've
Kelsey.
been saying it the wrong way the whole time. Why didn't you say something? Hey, if you have any prizes or something for me figuring that out, feel free to send them my way. I just like to dedicate. I'll be serious here for a minute. My phone call tonight to my homie Hugh Hefner. And we used to hang out back in the day. Only you'd never notice I was there because there's always blondes nearby, and my hair is so white, and I was just fading in the background, and I had a beard, and people don't like women with beards, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, rest in peace, Happy. I'll pour out some liquid refreshment in your honor after I hang up. So I guess my question for the Arcade Duders tonight is which one's better? Is it Valley's 1978 Playboy Pinball or the 35th anniversary Playboy Pinball released by Data East in 1989?
That's easy.
Feel free to discuss and pretend like you don't know what Playboy is. That's fine. Everybody lies sometimes. That's good. It doesn't matter. You guys take care. It's a great season. Zar's a deck out.
Oh,
wow.
I like Bob. I'm going to miss him for the 3 weeks we're not on the air.
Bob.
We're actually going to be out for almost a whole month. But anyway. What's your opinion? 1978 Playboy or 89?
I mean, the 89, it's got more action on it.
Oh. Well, I like the
Same.
78 back glass quite a bit. I mean, it is
I
pretty.
know they have like little inserts that you can get that are more naked.
Oh, you said insert.
Go on.
Yes. How dare you?
Go on, Mark.
What?
Inserts
I don't
and
know.
rubbers. Were there rubbers on the game? Oh my god.
Okay, so maybe we should interview each other. What do you think about that? Oh. Yeah. Yeah.
Be our guest. Be our guest. Put our service to the test.
That sounds so quadraphonic.
Did it? Because I didn't.
All right, so we have a list of 5 questions. It's a 5-question night, but we're going to probably bounce all over the place, and I want some interaction in the chat as well. So I'm going to start a little bit here with Mark and Dan. Let's start with Dan. How did you get into the hobby of arcade collecting?
That's a really good question. My boss at the time just happened to bring it up to me one day that he had a Donkey Kong machine in his basement. And I remember being sort of blown away by it. Like, what? You can buy an arcade machine and put it in your basement? What? And he's like, oh yeah, he had a Simpsons pinball party, and he had a Donkey Kong and a Donkey Kong Jr. And I was like, no freaking way. So he's like, yeah. So I did a quick Craigslist search, and I found, I mean, this is back in the day when games were nothing. I found a Crystal Castles for $200. So that was my first game. That's how I got into it.
Awesome. So, Mark.
Oh, yeah. Well, in the 80s, in the neighborhood right next to mine where my parents live right now, there was a friend of mine named Daniel Quaintance, and his neighbor had a Kix in the garage.
Ooh.
And I thought, dude, I'm going to come here every day and play this. It was so awesome. And that's actually how I sort of am an enamored to kicks. I would love to have one. I owned one briefly until I sold it so that I could move all my stuff out of Minnesota. No offense. But then years later,
I think I know where it is.
I'm sure you do. Oh, you mean Pete? You know Peter that bought it?
Oh no, then I know where another one is.
Oh, I see. Okay, so and then fast forward to when I was living in Philadelphia, I bought an apartment, and I felt like the wall needed something, and it was going to need to be. It needed to be some kind of arcade, vending some scenario, and so I decided to buy a few pinballs. I felt like the Gottlieb 1980 System 2, System 1. Can't remember exactly what it was, but it was basically the first machines that started to have LED displays. I bought 3 of them. The best part about that purchase was the first one I bought, there was a bug on the eBay page, and you couldn't bid on it because there was like a JavaScript error. And I realized I could fix that JavaScript error on my desktop and then post my bid. And so I won the auction for like the minimum bid. The guy was like really confused about why, nobody else bid. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I have no idea what happened. And hey, you guys are still there, right?
Yeah, we're listening.
Okay.
It's funny is we've had this story before because I think we asked you probably about this.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then so then I had those 3 machines, and then like my boss said that you're gonna have to move back to Houston. I sold them. I regretted it. Went to Jersey, bought another one, held on to that machine for a long time, and then slowly, once I had gotten to another apartment, and it's always like sort of like, when you get a space and you realize there needs to be an arcade in this section, that's what inspired me. So I had been in like this amazing apartment in Minnesota, and I felt like the whole wall needed to have stuff, and so I got Claw Machine and all sorts of other games.
I love that. What was your first arcade machine? Your like legit arcade machine?
I think it was my Xevious, which I still have, and then right after that a Pole Position, and I think I bought them for about $50 to $70.
Nice.
Both in Minnesota. Both people in basements that had walkouts, luckily.
And then came the Tron.
With
a ridiculous walkout. So.
Yeah, I definitely when I got that Tron and had them take it out, I said wrap it up because you have like a scary staircase. I mean,
I do. Yeah.
It's like concrete on those walls.
I know. I got 20 games down there. I get freaked out every time I move one down.
Yeah.
So I guess it goes to me then. How did I get into the hobby? So I know I've told my story before, so I'm going to make it brief. But when we were kids, we used to go to one of my dad's friend's house. He had a Coke machine in his basement and a pinball machine. And then, I found out like after I kind of befriended this other dude that his grandparents had a pinball machine in their basement, and they had a Frogger cocktail. And I always thought, man, it would be really cool if I could one day put a game in my basement or have a game in my house. So in around 2002, I started that quest. Joe Leese, who was on one of our earliest episodes of this season, helped me source a cabinet, and I wanted to do Super Pac-Man because that was my first games that I played. It was Donkey Kong and Super Pac-Man and Defender. Super Pac-Man though was a cocktail, and I thought it'd be really fun to have a cocktail in the house, and good conversation piece, and there's 2 people can play it, And then I got to think, it's just one game. Maybe I should try to do something else. And multis at the time were you could get like a 48-in-1, but they were kind of hard to find, and I didn't know much about collecting, so I decided to go the route of Tron, which is also one of my favorites. And so I ended up sourcing a bunch of parts for a Tron cocktail, and it took me a couple of years to really get that whole thing put together. And I wouldn't actually complete it until many years later, but I think I started in like 2002-ish with the Tron cocktail.
Parts used to be way easier to get back then too.
Well, and I got a set of NOS overlays. I know I've told this before, but someone from Clav contacted me because I was asking questions about my Tron, and I was really proud of the fact that I had gotten these pieces. And somebody from Claw contacted me. I don't know if it was Rich or somebody else, but they're like, "Can you please scan those? Because there's nobody that has those." And I was like, "Can't, whatever, buddy. I don't even know who you are, So, and like, I had a flatbed scanner, but I didn't even think to scan them. I should have. But they ended up getting another set of NOS and being reproduced, so I don't feel so bad. And I also got an underlay that I paid way too much money for, as I often do. But anyway, parts were easier to come by then.
Wah, wah.
Yeah.
So, starting with you, Adam, I have a question for you, pal.
Okay.
Sketchiest pickup.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man, that's a good
easy.
one.
This is easy. It's Afterburner. I bought an Afterburner upright, and I really loved Afterburner as a kid. In the late '80s, I stood in line and played the Environmental. I know I've told that story too, but so I thought, okay, I can't get the Environmental because it's too bloody big, so I'm gonna have to find something else. And I had seen them pop up from time to time, and I went off to way up in northern Minnesota with a buddy of mine who was in town just with a rental. So we used his rental truck because it was big enough. So he and I went up and picked up this thing, and we rolled into his basement. And it wasn't sketchy in the respect of it was gross and dark and dank, and I was afraid for my life. Like there's a certain place in White Bear that we've all been to that I would call sketchy. Sure. But that's not the kind of sketchy. This is the kind of sketchy as the dude was sketchy. He was very dodgy about whether the machine was working or not. And then I plugged it in and things were working okay. I got it home, and the motor inside, when I played it for about 30 seconds, and the whole thing rattled apart into the bottom of the thing. And then when I called him back to tell him, and then I started finding other things that were wrong with it, that he was not forthcoming with,
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Things had been rewired, so the throttle was reversed, and and the yoke had been reversed, so up was up and down was down instead of like a real plane where you pull up and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and then it was missing all kinds of parts, and there was stripped out screws that he had replaced some of the original metric screws with like American screws, because that whole game is metric. And it was one thing after another. And this game, I paid too much for the game, and I'm not even going to tell you what I paid for it, but
what'd you pay for it?
I paid more than $400 for it.
For a broken Afterburner.
For a broken Afterburner. Yeah.
And can't handle those things away up here.
Oh my God. And so I ended up sinking a ton of money into it, and getting everything working. But the guy I tried to call him, and he's just like, "Well, it's yours now, buddy." That's basically what he said to me. I was like, blank you very much. Never. So that guy was the sketchiest guy I'd ever dealt with.
So. What about you, Mark?
Okay, I saw Kicks that was for sale on Craigslist.
Dude, what's with you and Kicks?
I know, right? And what's funny is that it wasn't a Kicks. It turned out to be a Time Pilot, but I don't even own it. And so my wife and I loaded up Uncle Rico's van, went out to this apartment in, I'm gonna say, North St. Paul. That's a place, right?
Yep.
No,
yeah.
Is it?
Well,
yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's South St. Paul.
South St. Paul is a place.
Yes.
And then there's St. Paul Park south of that.
And so it was in like a really sketchy apartment complex. And I was looking at it, and I'm like, all of the apartment buildings were all attached, and there was only one entrance on each end.
Oh, weird.
Yes. And so we go in there, and we walk a long way down this long hallway. We finally get to the apartment, knock on the door, and then I swear to God, crackheads let us in. And they're like, "Hey," and they keep rubbing their teeth, and I'm like, "Oh man, this is
wow.
I don't know about this." And so I'm like, "Hi, I'm here for the game," and then they bring me over to their kitchen, and they have like the saddest looking Taito cabinet. It's missing the base is completely missing, but the wheels are on it, so it's like at a strange like angle. And in there, I'm like, oh yeah, I always ask this. I'm always, so hey, how did you get this? So I can get a little history. And they're like, well, we saw this by a dumpster.
Wow.
That we were living near. And then I don't remember much, but after that, they basically they said they brought it to their apartment, and it was a big struggle. Obviously, because it's missing missing the bottom. They're crackheads.
Got no muscle.
I mean, it was this guy and his girlfriend. They were neither one were attractive in any way, but they kept scratching their bodies, and I'm like, oh, God, I want to just get out of here. My wife is like, this is awesome, and I'm like, we gotta leave. And so I looked inside of it, and they're like, we don't even know if it comes on, blah blah blah. And I can't remember what made me think to say this, but I said, oh, this is broken. I didn't really think it was broken. I just figured that they just couldn't figure out how to turn it on. And I said, I'll give you $50, or you could just wait, somebody else will come and buy it or something like that. I mean, and then I was like waving the $50 bill.
Good.
And
good
they
plan.
were like scratching themselves harder, and they were like, oh, $40, $50, and my wife's like, what are you doing?
Go on.
And then they were like, oh, no, we'll take it. That sounds good. That's no problem. I mean, we didn't have anything. And I'm like, all right. So I wheeled it out of their decrepit apartment. And then I had to go down this long hallway. And the best part was that there were actually little mini staircases where you had to go up like 4 steps and come down 4 steps. And then we got it out of there, loaded Uncle Rico's van, took it home.
So
you know what that reminds me of?
I don't know what does it remind you?
Sundance Saga. Did you guys read about that?
No.
Mark or Adam?
Nope.
What?
Sundance.
So there's this ultra rare game called Sundance.
We talked about it.
You know what I'm talking about? You don't know this story?
I don't think so.
I wonder if we talked about this on another episode.
No, that was Bouncer.
Oh yeah.
Sundance. So you guys got to do some research on this, but long story short, somebody posts on Clav that they were driving by some abandoned ski resort or something similar, but it had been turned into a crack den. Right? But they looked in the window of this crack den, and here's this $10,000 arcade game sitting there in damn near mint condition, but everything else around it is absolutely effing destroyed. Like,
wow.
Yeah. So
this thing is cool. It has an orange bezel.
So, right. That's it. I'm sure that's the only picture of it.
Is it black and white?
Somebody is like, well, we need to figure out who owns this place so we can get this game out of there. Right. And somebody else on the forum is like, yeah, but we got to figure out where this place is. So if there's this massive hunt for this location because it's not on Google Maps, no one can find it. So these people are driving up and down, these members are driving up and down this California coast road trying to figure out where this abandoned ski resort is. And then they want to try to figure out, because it's in this little tiny dinky town, who owns the abandoned place, because no one wanted to steal it, obviously. But the doors were open. Like the place was totally trashed, except for this Sundance game that was in there.
That's weird.
So somebody goes in and freaking steals it. They like tear out a door.
Oh my God.
And they use it as a ramp and they take the thing. Okay. Like 2 weeks later, they post on Club like, yeah, I'm feeling kind of guilty about this, but I took the Sundance. And then all of a sudden the cops are involved.
Oh no.
Yeah. You got to read this saga. It's amazing. I spent like I think I started it one night when I couldn't sleep.
Oh, I found the article.
Oh my God. You have to post it because it's the best read
it's
ever.
Arcade Blogger.
In my opinion, it's the best arcade read ever.
Yeah, I'll post in the chat in here in a second. arcadeblogger.com/2016/0603 Cinematronics Sundance. The title is Arcade Raid Gone Wrong.
Could be. Wow. I don't remember, but I mean, I started reading it thinking, whatever. this will be a 2-minute read. And it ended up being like 100 and some pages of drama over this game. Oh my God. I couldn't stop reading
there's
it.
pictures of it here.
I'm going to tease you a little bit because you mentioned Bouncer.
Yeah.
Cinematronics.
I actually know something, but I can't talk about it.
No, you don't.
I do.
What?
I can't talk about it.
That's not true.
It's true.
You don't know anybody that has a Bouncer.
I can't talk about it.
Well, thanks for bringing it up on the show.
Yeah,
so
what's the point then?
So I mean, until something materializes with the whole, lead, I feel like it's, I should just tease it, but not.
What do you mean the lead?
Exactly. What do I mean?
All right. So Dan, what's your sketchiest pickup?
Well, I'm guessing it's going to fall in the same category as what you were kind of hinting at.
Mm-hmm.
So $100, 4-slot Neo Geo, come pick it up. Doesn't have a monitor, right? Big deal. 25-inch monitor. You can get them 10 of them for $1. So I'm like, okay, does it have the 4-slot board? Does it have the marquee? Is it complete? Yeah, joysticks, everything. It just doesn't have a monitor in it. You can come get it, $100. Okay. But I knew that it was, and if you guys follow me on YouTube, I had a arcade raid that went to where I got my Bandito, right? It's an old operator in northern Minnesota that has maybe, I don't know, what do you think, 20 trailer fulls of old arcade games and EM games, and he has like a giant shed of this. So anyway, everybody in the Minnesota scene has been there, and it's been picked over pretty well. But every now and then he'll post something that he gets because he must travel around, or he knows other operators, and so he ends up with this Neo Geo.
What?
Yeah. So he's like, yeah, just come up. I'm like, okay, I know where you are because I went to this. He's like, no. It's at my residence. I'm like, okay. So he gives me the address to his house. So me and my wife hop in the truck and drive up there, and see, we head down. Adam, have you been there? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Nope.
Oh, okay. So you get up, and his house is set way back, obviously, because he lives in very, very rural northern Minnesota. And so we pull up, and it's like the ultimate episode of Hoarders, which doesn't surprise me. This doesn't blow me away by any means, but yeah, totally Hoarders. Like junk everywhere. He's got probably 20 sheds and barns and whatever, just filled to the rafters with crap. So I'm like, wow, you have a lot of stuff here. Whatever. He's like, oh yeah, let me show you. So then he proceeds to take me on this tour. Well, he's got a Puckman in the back, right? And I'm like, oh man, I'm really kind of interested in that Puckman. He's like, yeah, but I don't have the boards for it or something. I don't know, but it was stuffed way in the back. So he's taking me around and showing me all this stuff. And eventually he's like, yeah, let's go get my brother, because my brother can drive the forklift, and we're going to just go and scoop up your Neo Geo and just dump it in the back of your truck, because it's easier than just trying to haul this thing through the gravel, because it's in one of these barns. Like, oh, okay, whatever. So my wife and I are following him, and we go into his house, and I swear to God, it's a path, right? And in the basement, it's all pinball machines, and I think 90% of them are broken or whatever, and arcade games and just parts. And I mean, it doesn't look like it could be habitable by people. Mm-hmm. And like Dave from Buffalo, this will get you excited. He has like slot machines and all that kind of stuff. So we're going through this house, and we're going through the basement, and all of a sudden his brother is sitting just wearing tighty whities, smoking a cigar, probably hasn't showered in a month, at a video poker machine that obviously he's not going to win any money at because it's at his freaking house. And doesn't even bat an eye when he sees my wife. So he stands up in his tighty whities, and we all are walking through this and I'm thinking, well, this could be the end for me, pretty much. We're walking through this dingy basement to get out to the caterpillar or whatever it is that they had with the scoop on it, but we made it out. But man, it was sketch, to say the least.
Wow.
Funny. So, so you guys are sketchy. So another question. I think Mark came up with this one. So let's start with Mark. What are your 3 favorite arcade games, and what happened to make them your favorite?
Okay, so top 3 arcade.
Wait, let me guess.
Games.
Kicks.
No.
Oh, okay.
Tubin, because he had 2 of them.
2 Tubins. Now, where did my notes go? I had some notes about this.
You need notes about your favorite arcade games?
Just tell the story.
I have talking notes.
Is Kelsey in the chat yet?
No, he's not here tonight.
Super disappointed.
So he's going to end up listening to this later and be like, God dang it.
Super freaking disappointed, Kelsey.
All right, I'll try to remember what I was going to say. My favorite arcade game, which is right next to me in my office, I don't have any other game in here, is Super Pac-Man. I went to a Washington, D.C. trip with my 8th grade class, and the hotel had a couple. Well, Trisha, if you're listening, I wish. Anyway, they had this Super Pac-Man, which I had never seen before, and I thought, oh man, this is awesome. And I was spending hours and hours. Like, all my friends are like swimming in the pool, and it's like in a covered type of, like you're in an interior covered hotel area with this pool and this arcade. Anyway, I did not swim like 1 minute, and I just played this game, loved it. That was literally like total heaven. Loved that game. Could never find it when I was back in Houston either, and it was really strange. So I figure that's my number 1 game. My number 2 is Sinistar, and that was at Circle K right down the street from me. And it was definitely a departure from the other games that used to be there, because they had like Zookeeper, which I loved, and Dragon's Lair, and Crystal Castles. I mean, a lot of those more cheery, positive type. I mean, as much as they are, I always felt Sinistar was like kind of a darker game, and I really liked it because, I mean, the guy wants to kill you. That's his job, basically. And so I've always liked that. Always had a thing for that. I have one. It's one of my go-to games. My wife is like, I'm not playing that, but whatever, it's fine. And then my number 3 of the top games is definitely, and I still don't have one, Elevator Action.
Really?
Oh.
Yes. It was in the Willowbrook Mall arcade. I have no idea which. I'm sure it had like a generic arcade brand. I have no idea what it was originally, but it was by the theater that I saw a lot of my favorite movies in the 80s, and I just loved it. It's not that I like shooting people, I guess, but it's just so clever where you're, the escalators and the elevators. And, I'll be honest with you, when I was a little kid, I was fascinated with elevators and escalators, and I got in so much trouble for some of the things I did. And let me share a little bit. I realized that you could turn off escalators. There was like emergency stop.
So you're the reason why when the door opens, it goes.
Oh my God. I don't know how many people I enjoyed watching stumble and go, oh, what happened? My mom's like, again, oh my God, again, you're doing it. I told you not to. And so yeah, the escalator, and then in elevators, I would go into elevators. Like, I would just go in and just go up and down. I mean, it's funny that there's like YouTube videos of people who go into a certain manufacturer of elevator and just, this is the action on the stop and it's so good. Dude, but I'm not one of those people.
That is hilarious. I watch the most random YouTube videos ever. I watch a guy that restores Hot Wheels.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yep.
I just posted your restoration video in the chat for you. mark of your super pack. Well, not restoration, but the getting it going and cleaned up and whatnot. So it's pretty fun. It's a quick little video. So if you're listening, Mike Martin says that his 3 favorite games are Satan's Hollow, Paperboy, and Baby Pac-Man.
Does he own those 3 games? If he doesn't, then he's a loser.
What? No, he's not.
Speaking of elevators, was Keystone Capers then your favorite Atari 2600 game?
Oh God, I love Keystone Capers.
No, but I remember the drive home. We bought it from it was this store called Rave. Did you have Raves in the 80s?
Mm-mm.
No, we had Labelles.
I remember what we bought it, and I was listening to like some fun, maybe Men at Work on the radio, just thinking, "Oh my God, everything is awesome."
And I have an elevator story for you too. I was fascinated with them as well. And we used to hang on to the escalators, and I used to hang on to the the little rubber, hand rail that I used to hang on to that.
The germ collector,
and let it pull us up the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in the Burnsville Center, and I was hanging on to that, and I went up further than I had ever gone up before, and I freaked out, and I tried to get down, and I was probably only I was in first grade, and
oh my God.
So my knee got caught between the down and the up railings.
What?
And it snapped my leg, and my ligaments inside my knee were just ripped. And I tore the whole inside of my right knee, and to this day, I still have trouble with that knee. But I used to, when I play sports and stuff, sometimes it would just give out when I was running. I, change directions and drop. But yeah, I was in a not a cast, but I was in a brace, and I had crutches for a couple weeks. So,
dang, that's a story. So did Mike ever respond? Does he have those games or what?
I'm gonna say no.
Who was that for? Oh, Mike. Well, you're not reading the chat. He says
No.
yo. No, he didn't. He'll respond, but they're a few minutes behind us. So he says yes, he has them. So
good man.
As we all wait with bated breath. So what question are we on? Oh, 3 favorite games. Dan, go.
You go.
Okay,
I have to think about it.
3 top games, and since you're talking about it, Super Pac-Man. I know I mentioned this on the show a couple weeks ago. Dan, you weren't here, but I paid way too much for a Pac-Man cocktail for the specific reason of that I
pay too much.
Oh, it's so good. It's such a good game. And Brad Lutz, Small Town Guy 2 from Clav, did the restoration. He did a fantastic job. It's just one of the nicest machines I've ever seen. And I have a vivid memory of playing that in the taco house in Park Rapids when I was a kid, and playing Eddie Grant's Electric Avenue. So I really, really I'm with Mark. It's like, and almost anyone we've asked this question of where do you remember playing a game? You have vivid memories of where you were and what was playing at the time all these things were going on. Another favorite game is it's got to be Tron, and I think it's just because the cabinet is phenomenal. A lot of people don't like the gameplay. I enjoy it. It's pattern based. It can be a little daunting, but I really just thought they did such a great job for a movie arcade game, and having the sound and the music from the game or from the movie in the game was immersive. So those definitely are 2 of my favorites. Boy, it's so hard to pick just 3. My whole basement is full of games that I love. But I'm going to have to go with Star Trek, the Vector arcade game, because, and I have to specifically,
I thought you hate it.
No, I love it.
Anybody choose that before?
No,
that's amazing.
I love it. It's the cocktail, the cockpit version is specifically, there's no cocktail version, but the cockpit version, I had played as a kid, and then I played it as a teenager because for some reason, the Holiday Plus in Burnsville, which was a grocery store, because Holiday spun off grocery stores for a while here in Minnesota, and they had and I had a little arcade off to the side, and they had a little music section where you could go buy CDs and stuff. So I used to go up there soon as, once I got my driver's license, and for some reason, all these years later, they had a working Star Trek cockpit, and I didn't realize what a feat that was to actually have a working cockpit with a G08 and a G80 system in it from Sega. I mean, I really didn't realize what I was playing. And I went up there weekend after weekend and sometimes after school just to play that thing. And the thing that, I'm being a Star Trek nerd and all that at that point in my life, and to a degree today, I got into that thing. When you put the quarter in and it said, "Welcome aboard, Captain," I just thought that was the coolest thing. And it's tough for me to say that I like that game better than Star Wars for the same reasons. So, because Star Wars was just immersive. You're an X-Wing pilot, But I really liked, for a long time, Star Trek. So I have a cockpit. I've got all the pieces to restore it. I really need to get that done. I need to get a little more space though, because I can't put it anywhere yet. So, and I have all the games that I like. So
that's pretty good. I definitely don't yet have all the games I like.
Yeah, and then I have maybe an opportunity to get a Star Wars cockpit coming up here too.
Wow.
If I can get it, I'm going to be selling my upright.
I want to have a bunch of cockpits where I have to crawl through 2 or 3 of them just to get into the other one. Wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be really cool.
There's some consolation prizes too, like a Mega Race. I just love that game.
Yeah.
It's honorable mention,
Crawl through your Omega Race to get to your Road Blasters, to get to your pole position, to get to your Star Trek.
To get to your missile command.
I was really interested in trying to buy that Road Blasters cockpit off you, Adam, until I found out it does not come apart.
Oh, yeah, it does.
No, it doesn't. Everyone said it's a solid piece. I read up on it. Maybe yours does. Maybe somebody cut it. But it's not supposed to.
You might be right, because I have it stored vertically right now.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Where is it stored at? I mean,
I need to sell it though. I got to sell that. I mean, I have no room, and unless I build my edition, it's not doing anybody any good in a storage container.
That edition is coming.
It's coming. You'll regret selling it.
I'm gonna have to do like a GoFundMe to get my garage built.
Arcade startup. Just talk to your tax guy.
There you go.
I should. All right, Dan, tell us what you got going. Oh, Casey joined the Casey joined the chat.
Casey, my man. So glad. Casey, I like your home theater, pal.
Casey Relford says Pac-Land, Marble Madness, and 720 for him.
Really? 720, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I remember I have a 720, but I only have it because I remember how murderous it was on my wallet when I was a kid.
Yeah. Cool.
I love Marble Madness.
Yeah.
Well, I know Randall's got Xevious, and that's one of his favorite, and he also shouted out Marble Madness.
Yeah.
So
Marble Madness is kind of a classic.
Yeah.
I like it.
Cool. Oh, Dave from Buffalo, Dragon's Lair, Marble Madness, and Spy Hunter.
Dave, you and I are really similar. What do you say? Dragon's Lair, Spy Hunter, and what?
Marble Madness. Yeah.
Man, I got all 3 of those games, and I would have to agree.
Yeah.
I think I'm an emotional collector, so everything that I have, I've collected for a reason, except for Journey, which was an accident. But I'll tell you, the one game that I have that I really didn't have. Here's the backstory on it. So the first 2 are, you can pick any of them, but I'll just say Dragon's Lair, obviously, because it was at the time when I was a kid and I walked into the arcade and saw the animation playing instead of rasterized graphics. I was absolutely stunned. So that left a lasting mark on me. So Dragon's Lair is probably my favorite of all time. But only recently I figured out that Cloak and Dagger was actually an arcade game. And I remember seeing the movie when I was a kid, and I could not wait to get Cloak and Dagger for my Atari 2600, right?
5200.
I was dead set on getting a 5200 because I think that's what the cartridge was in the movie.
It was.
Right? So it never, ever came out. And I remember, back then there was no internet, and you just went to Target and whatever they freaking had is, what was out. I looked for years for that game, and I was like, I don't know, that's weird. It must have just been a movie thing. And then I was deep into collecting before I found out, and I was like, wait, what? So I would have to say that that's my number 3, Cloak and Dagger, just because it kind of brought back a weird, like everything, like all these memories came rushing back from when I was a kid. I'm like, oh my God, I can own this game that I desperately wanted for years on the Atari 2600, but never. I don't think they ever released the game, did they?
They did not.
No,
it's awful.
Yeah, so there it says, I'm reading the Wikipedia page.
Me too.
It's really interesting because they say that the game had limited release as a conversion kit for Robotron 2084. What do you have yours in?
I don't think
you have a Defender.
Maybe it did have I know there were 2 conversions for it. Mine's in a Defender.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's like the classic. That's what a lot of people have gotten.
Well, Defenders were more common than Robotron, I think.
I mean, they actually advertise the conversion with pictures of a Defender that has been converted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this might be slightly wrong. Wikipedia is not always.
Well, I think it actually only ever was truly released as a conversion for either Defender or a Williams game. But
yeah.
I have no desire to have the Crystal Castles version of it. I think it looks cool, but it wasn't really a real game. So to me, I don't know. I like the Defender version better, and I'd feel really bad about. Oh, you know what?
When you say it wasn't real, you just mean it wasn't dedicated, right? Because it was a real game,
right.
And the 5200 version of the game was planned but was never released.
Yeah, I think that's probably when Atari went under. But
yeah, 83.
I mean, it was such an obscure thing to. And I remember being a kid and just being sort of ironically heartbroken about it because I was like, man, I really, really want that game. I just wanted it so bad. I loved every scene in that movie that had that, the little spy with his hat on fire when he was going down the elevator. So when I actually had an opportunity to grab one, man, I snatched up on it. I'm glad I did because the boards are going for stupid money right now.
Yeah. So that's one of them. That's Cloak and Dagger. And then what else?
Spy Hunter and same thing. I mean, you can pick any of them.
Sure.
Joust, Marble Madness.
Again, that's the hard thing, right? You got all these games in your collection. It's like I love Tapper. It's a great game. I love X's and O's footballs. I read this one of the earliest games. Atari Football is one of the earliest games I remember seeing in an arcade.
But the key to this question is why do you love that?
True, and we gave those answers.
Yeah. I think you guys are like me. We're emotional collectors, right?
Yeah, but I would say that, Dan, on occasion, you have an eye for the rare. So if you have an opportunity, you'll go for it.
Well, I flip them, though.
Yeah.
I don't really keep them. Like the Bandito, I got it, flipped it.
Hey, you got Journey. You're going to flip that?
Yeah, probably. I mean, my wife doesn't want me to because it's taken me so damn long, literally, to piece this thing together. And we fired it up the other day and it was on and running, and she's like, well, you made a board for it. You really need to keep it. And I was like, nah.
But you're known for that board, which, by the way, I put away in storage and I'm like freaking out. I can't find it.
Oh, really?
In here. Yeah, it's in a box.
Don't worry, pal. I'll give you another one if you lost it.
No. I mean, it's somewhere here.
So, yeah, cool. I don't know. I just think that I read a lot of stories about guys that get into collecting. And, the first thing is, someone will say, well, Bob is new to collecting. Or if someone comes on new to the scene and they say, oh, there's this new guy and he's collecting. He brought this over to me. But he's in that phase where he's collecting everything right now.
Yeah.
I instantly think this guy's never going to last because you're doing it for all the wrong reasons. If you're not collecting something that has some sort of emotional attachment to you, then you're doing it to earn money potentially, and you're going to be extremely disappointed when you find out you're paying $1,300 for a Donkey Kong and you can flip it for $1,300. So I don't know. That's my thoughts on it anyway. I don't think, unless you have an emotional attachment to these things, I don't think you're going to last long in this hobby.
Yeah. Speaking of that,
thoughts?
No, I agree.
Concur.
So Dan, I think maybe you came up with this question. So what is your opinion then, based on what you just said, of the current state of collecting?
I think that I read a lot of articles and I see, and I mean, I think we all are I have a pretty strong circle of collecting friends, and I hear a lot of them saying, oh, I think I'm going to sell a bunch of my games now because this bubble is going to burst. But I don't think that's the case at all. I think these barcades have taken these 30-year-old games that had a limited lifespan anyway, and they're pounding the crap out of them, and they're never going to be good.
Can I say something about that since you brought that up? Because
yeah, for sure.
I love Up Down. One of my favorite places to go now. Such a good arcade. And they do a really good job of maintaining their games, and they run. Not all of them play like they should, and there's nitpicks and whatever else, but it's one of the places that I can go play ice cold beer, and if it's broken, it'll be fixed and it'll be back. It's got new games, Killer Queen, and it's got or whatever it's called, and they have Tron and all the classics and everything, and a great booze lineup and beer lineup. So, just super fun. But one thing that I find frustrating is a lot of these barcades with capital can outshop us. So I feel like it's harder now to get games than it was. And before they're even up, they're gone,
Well, the thing is too, and I don't think people are taking this into consideration. Are you going to be able to get a Pac-Man? Probably. It's probably not going to be hard to get a Pac-Man, but is it going to be easy to get a Journey?
Right. No.
You're not going to ever probably find a Journey again.
But let's say, for instance, Kicks, that's a really hard game to find. And whether it's a cocktail or a dedicated. And the dedicated, I know where there's a dedicated right now, and I know that there's a company that bought it, and I can't get at it,
Right.
So what do I do? It's like, okay. But, it is what it is. I think... I think collecting is right now at a peak for especially Golden Age machines, and
But is it though? It's not at a peak. Like it's at a peak because there aren't any.
That's what I mean. I think that it's
not like it's going to peak and then valley. This thing is just going to go up, and that'll be that.
I think it's like the baby boomers and car collecting. They're all getting into their late 60s, 70s. Some of them are passing away, and nobody wants the cars.
I don't know, man. I have a friend that bought.
I'm saying in general, as a blanket statement, the Gen Xers and the Millennials are not after those vehicles. So there's going to be a bunch. The prices on a lot of those vehicles are going down. So I'm saying when we get old and we have all these things in our basement that have been restored, there's a good possibility that they're just going to go for, pennies on the dollar.
Maybe, but then there'll be no market for it.
Right.
So I'm saying that if you don't get it, you're just not going to get it, and you're never going to be interested. You're not going to be looking for, if you're not into collecting or if you're not into arcade games when you're 70 years old and all these things are worth nothing, it's not going to matter because the ship has sailed and you didn't get to collect it. So so it doesn't matter. Value doesn't matter at that point.
Mark, weigh in. What do you think?
Okay, so I see there's, as far as the state, I feel like there's 3 levels of people out there. There's the historical arcader, which I think we are, where you have an emotional tie to older games, and they are about who you are, and those are the true sort of arcaders, and those are the people I tend to gravitate to. I also see people who are the sort of arcaders. They don't really have memories about this stuff, but they like the attention they get. So it's sort of like...
Yes. Go on, Mark.
Yes. I mean, it's like it's a way of acquiring interest. Like you can sort of buy your friends in a way. And so some bars who are, that are run frankly by younger folks, they're like, dude, we can totally get the older people to come in and blah, 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 whatever. And it's just by bringing in these older games. It's like, I mean, I sort of feel a little bit in this way about some of the older 90s games. I'm like, don't have a lot of connection, but I feel like they're, the natural progression. And then the third group, and this is the ones that I hate, are the ones that are only in this for the money. They don't care. They have no emotional tie. They'll take any game and paint it black and put a 16-1 in there, and then they'll bring up anybody that says anything bad about them and call them a purist. And so they're the anti-purists.
Right.
And these are kind of like the garbage people that are just they're only in this to make a buck. They have no, everything that makes you sort of, that makes your heart warm, that gives you sort of that like you're in love type feeling. They don't have that, and they don't care about that. They're just sort of here. And those are the people that we have to sort of fight with to get the games. I mean, they're in it just as much as we are. They have money that, the seller isn't going to like figure out if you're worthy to own this game. They're just going to sell it to you. Whoever said that they were going to buy it first, or whoever had the most money. So, I mean, you know what? And I'm positive that no matter what it is, like it could be cars, or it could be jukeboxes, or it could be action figures. There's these three types are probably consistent.
Yeah.
It's
with varying levels, right?
Varying levels. Yes, exactly.
Because, and Mike Martin says pond water scum.
Yeah.
So
totally.
But yeah, I mean, like, and I'm not a total purist, and I don't mind being labeled that from time to time. There's games that I just won't restore because they're in good enough condition for me, like my Tempest. I don't need to gut it. I rebuilt the power supply, and the power brick and all that, and the 6100. And
I mean, keeping something original and patina, and also restoring it back to all of its original components.
Glory, yeah.
That I think they're very similar, but
yeah,
you start to like decide, I'm just gonna make this an LCD, or I'm gonna.
I did that once to a 48. I took a Solar Fox and I turned it into a 16-1 with an LCD.
Ouch.
Yeah, that was one of my saddest.
I'll be honest, I have no idea what a Solar Fox is, but
it's a pretty rare game. It didn't deserve it. It was a cabaret too. So, and now it's in England or something. But the other thing I've done is and I probably won't do it again, but I took my wood grain Centipede cabaret and I painted it white and put graphics on it. It looks gorgeous, and it looks more like the upright, but a lot of people get ticked off when you don't keep the original wood grain, and
I think that's kind of ultra purist.
So, but yeah, I mean, I love that game, and for some reason I just decided the white would look better, and there was some chips and stuff in the wood grain, and I didn't want to peel it off and start over. So maybe one day I'll strip the whole thing and put it back to wood grain. I don't know. It's not undoable, and I like it, and I'm not planning on getting rid of it because it's one of my favorite games. So
I say keep it the way you have it.
Yeah. So couple of questions sort of about the show. So we've talked a little. Did Dan answer that question? Yeah.
He did.
Yeah, he started. So what I want to kind of kick out to you guys and also to the chat is maybe what's your favorite episode of this season, Mark?
I'm gonna say Todd and his wife. I mean,
Tim McVeigh.
Tim McVeigh? Oh, who the hell's Todd? Oh, no, not Todd. Sorry, Todd, but Tim McVeigh. Yes.
Todd just came up to accept
Todd
the award.
Rogers. No, that one was okay, but Tim McVeigh, way better.
If this were the Academy Awards, he would have just upset a whole bunch of people.
Todd's never going to hear this. Come on.
Oh, I love Todd's episode. Tim and Tina McVeigh's episode is very good, though. That's a good one.
It is a good one. Anyone where you're laughing, every like minute, how can you not like that? So that's definitely and I always hope that we can make them similar to that. So the joy that you get out of these things is it's never a consistent thing that you're going to get because anything can happen, especially live radio.
Right. Yeah, they were fantastic. It was fun. What about you, Dan? What was your favorite episode of the season?
I think we really found our stride with Tim McVeigh. So I'd have to say that's where we sort of gelled the most. So Tim McVeigh, I thought it was very funny. I had a good time. That was one of the best.
There was a lot of belly laughing. A lot of belly laughing.
I'd like to get him back on too. So he's a pretty funny dude. I like him.
It's hard to pick an episode, It's I really like the episode where Mark joins the crew, and
me too.
That's Joe Leese, and he is a fascinating man. We had just guest after guest this year of really awesome people,
Jerry Buckner.
Yeah, no, that was my favorite episode was Jerry Buckner.
Yeah, he's a cool dude.
He has such a good voice, and he had great stories. But I mean, we had Steve Wiebe on, and Lon McDonald, and Tim McVeigh, and I mean Todd Rogers. I mean, we had a lot of good guests. Walter Day.
It's like it's like a movie every week almost.
And then then the local guys, Dan Lewson, MGC. We had, Steve of Grinker's Grand Palace, we had, Richie
Knuckles.
Yeah. Oh, Richie Knuckles. Yeah. Oh yeah. So
he was crazy. I love that guy.
I know.
It's funny. That was a great episode.
I just think, it's going to be interesting, next season to see what we do, who we get, so we have Andy Baldwin says Walter Day, Richie Knuckles were the ones that were most prominent in his memory. He loved the Buckner one too. So yeah, I think if we just keep striving to get good guests, although Dan seems to think we may have blown our wad.
I think there's still at least another 10 or 15 other good guys.
We got another season left before we're interviewing each other every episode, I think.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
I like what we were doing. Like we were trying to lure a certain dude in our text messaging, which I think we're going to get him. But
yeah.
We'll get him.
Well,
I just talked to him.
Oh, good.
Yeah. There's and maybe we'll do a premiere with him or something. Who knows?
That would be fun.
But we also have we have all kinds of connections, So because those people enjoyed the show, and Todd, and
we need to get that Kubert guy on. I want to get him on. What's his name?
Kubert guy.
Yeah, the guy who's like crazy good at Kubert, but he's got like dreadlocks. Looks like he fell out of Pearl Jam's tour bus.
Yeah, I don't know what his name is.
Should get him on.
And and Dan, you missed the last episode, but Jay Bartlett from the Nintendo Quest documentary was on, and Todd was on that. He was a fun guest.
Yeah,
we have Game Informer magazine, which is local too. We could maybe hit those guys up, and there's a lot. We have a lot of things we could do.
I have a lot of ideas. We have a good team here. We've and we've had requests for guests, so we'll probably try to get some of those people on. I think that'll be fun.
I've seen a few names, and if you're in chat, I don't think that would be a problem. So stay tuned.
Yes.
And then, so favorite episodes, I think we did that. So let's talk about what would you like to see happen on the show next year? More of the same. Is there something? Do we want to branch out and do beer reviews?
Don't be giving anything away.
A new segment. I don't know.
No, it's so funny. We have a really locked in format, and you guys were right when Tim, particularly when Tim and Tina hit the airwaves with us, we started getting legitimate compliments from every single guest about how we run the show. And I think that's really important to maintain to a degree. So I think having a format and some structure helps us tell a story each time with a guest, and thinking in a little bit. And we're always going to have ad lib. That's part of the game. But I really like digging in and asking some of the questions that maybe they haven't been asked before, or maybe we ask it in a different way, because a lot of these guests have done other arcade things, conventions, and
we don't really want to rehash anything. That's how we kind of want to roll with this. But
yeah,
I don't know. It'd be nice to get a few big name people in here. I know we have a few people lined up that we can't really talk about yet, but it'd be pretty cool to get a few more collectors on here. I don't think we really even kind of touched the top of the iceberg when it comes to the awesome collectors and the listeners. And there's a lot of interesting people with, in my opinion, really interesting stories. So I'd like to get more collectors on.
Yeah. Well, and some different aspects, like Andy Ballman just said, try to get some game designers. And actually, we have a particular game designer in mind. I'm working on networking with him. Yeah, he's kind of famous.
Joust.
Defender. So we have some ideas. Owen Rubin, who was on Arcade Outsiders. Andy Ballman saying we should try to get him on.
Owen Rubin?
Yep. And I would love to, because I love those episodes when he was on, because he was on a couple, wasn't he? On Arcade Outsiders? Wasn't he kind of semi-regular?
I think the desire was to have him on more than just a few, but...
Yeah. Dave Thurr. Oh, that would be awesome. Dave Thurr, he did Tempest, Missile Command.
Didn't he do Tempest 4000 too?
No, that's a different guy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Same guy that did Tempest 2000.
Yeah,
my bad.
Which is an awesome game, by the way.
I haven't played it yet. So. I want to.
And I would like to branch out into some of those spin-offs too, because consoles, we talk about this repeatedly, but when we were kids, there was no way to collect. So you bought a console. And then you bought all the arcade games that you remembered on your Atari, and they were dreadfully not close to the original, with the exception of like Asteroids and Space Invaders, So, but Tempest, was there Tempest for the 2600?
They did?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Really? I better look that up real quick.
Oh, it's a little brutal.
I think, I don't know if it was later. It was a prototype. Somebody actually released it eventually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it's horrible.
I was gonna say, I would have. Yeah, here you go. Look at that.
Yeah. There's a YouTube video of it. Oh, yeah. That's awesome. They made one. It's very similar to the 5200 version.
That Lyft commercial, is that Jeff Daniels?
Jeff Daniels. Oh, yeah. Oh.
You watching the YouTube video? Every YouTube video has Jeff Daniels and riding around like he's a cowboy. I think that's Jeff Daniels.
I'm not watching that one.
Oh, yeah. This is terrible. No wonder it was never released.
Yeah, exactly.
Get him confused.
Yeah. Yep.
I can't watch anymore. Sorry, Tempest.
And we've got
Jeff Daniels and Jeff Bridges confused.
We also have a couple of local guys over in Wisconsin. I say local, but they're not that far. That were in like the Tetris documentary, and I'd love to have some of those guys on.
The what? I didn't know there was a Tetris documentary.
Oh yeah, it's super cool. I really liked it.
What? What's it called? I gotta look that up.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to look it up now.
I want to get the, who else I kind of want to touch base with? I talked with him a few times. The guy that's doing the Inside the Dragon's Lair documentary movie. Then he had a whole dump load of footage, and he was out doing interviews with Don Bluth, and I don't know where that documentary went to.
Ecstasy of Order is what it's called. You can go to watch.ecstasyoforder.com to see more about it. But it's a really cool. And I think Brad Lutz is friends with one of the guys that's in it. So, but I want to have some more local collectors on too. Kind of sprinkle them in. Be fun.
Nice.
Some faraway ones too.
And I don't know what's going to be in store for season 2. Season 1, if you go back and listen to the first episode, where that was and where we are now, we knew where we were headed, but I think we ended up in a really great place.
I do have one request. I do want to get Kelsey on the show. Kelsey is required to be a part of season 2.
Kelsey Rayford.
Kelsey.
Yeah, I think we should
Kelsey
have
Redmond.
him on.
Let's get him on.
Yeah,
Keltzer.
The Kelts Master. I like that guy.
I think he's got a pretty decent lineup, if I'm not mistaken. I think he did a YouTube video recently.
Right now, Kelsey's looking for the middle finger emoticon.
No. Yeah, probably.
An emoji. So.
Oh, emoji. Okay, I'm not going to get into that right now.
Where is Kelsey? Where is your YouTube video, buddy?
Yeah.
Put that in the link. I think it was you. You did a little tour of your basement.
Yeah, he actually had a challenge. Maybe we can get Casey and Dolly. That's his wife. To be on.
Who's Casey?
Those episodes are good, and I still want to do a Wives of episode.
Oh God, no! Don't get my wife on here.
I think it would be awesome.
I
think it would be awesome. Making that happen is going to be difficult. So maybe one time when we're all in the same state, we can just bring our wives and surprise them.
I'm bringing my wife to Grinkers.
I'm not.
Oh, so am I.
I'm not bringing your wife or your wife to Grinkers.
I'll be at Grinkers. I'll be in Idaho at about 4 p.m. on Thursday.
I'm very excited, by the way. I've been friends with Griffin for years, and I've never met him. I'm finally going to meet him at
Fun guy.
Grinkers this year.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm looking forward to is meeting all these guys that I've never met. So,
are any of the guys in the chat going out there?
I don't know. We'll have to wait for him to answer in 2 minutes.
I hate waiting. Is Randall showing up? Come on, Randall.
Randall, I don't know. He's got a big family, and he'd have to cart them all along if he was going to go.
Oh.
But I know he'd like to go.
What about you, Mark? What do you see in the future interests?
I know I like the format. I like how some shows will add a segment or adjust something. I think that we're going to do something similar to that. I don't really know what yet. I'll think about it.
I agree.
Something that differentiates the seasons between each other.
Sure. Yeah, I like that idea.
I just want to speak vaguely without actually having to come up with whatever that is now.
Exactly. Well, you stick to what works too, I think, to a degree. I really love the pop culture segment, and I know Dan does too. I actually dig the news piece too, because there's lots of stuff that we can report on that is, arcade related, or stems from some sort of video game playing,
Thanks, Dave and Buster's.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Well, I talked to a couple people from Dave and Buster's at 2DCon a couple months ago, and I've got their names for possibility of having them on the show too.
I'm really excited to one day go on Craigslist and find a Crossy Road arcade game.
No,
that'd be so cool. If somebody
probably another 5 or 10 years, but
somebody will make one.
Well, there's someone was selling one just the PC on eBay for like $700, and I was an inch away from pulling the trigger on that because I'm like, how hard would it be for me to wire up a couple joysticks and put it in a pedestal and slap a 50-inch Samyang TV on a stand and call it done.
It would be fun to do like a Crossy Road cabinet that looked like the Frogger cabinet, but
that's a good idea.
Had like slightly different graphics. Instead of the treadmark, you had like a digital thing chasing up the side with, I don't know, something like that. But, Frogger is really a boring cabinet. It's like boring. It's got the stripe up the side.
I'm looking at mine right now.
But the black light's cool with the like little frog feet on the.
I haven't done that. I heard that if you put a black light in it, the frog feet light up. Is that right?
Yeah, they're phosphorescent.
Oh, really?
But I thought it came with the black light originally.
No.
Yeah,
I gotta add that.
It was a white black light.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, didn't it?
No.
I've only owned 2, and that's funny that you finally got a Frogger you are happy with.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had like 3 now.
I know.
I'm not really happy with it because the colors are all wrong on it. Like it's missing the blue, so I have to go in there and monkey with it. But Yeah, maybe. It's like, priorities.
Right.
I just did a search trying to find a white blacklight, and I ended up getting a cloth thread where this guy back in 2012 says, anyone know why a Frogger might have a white border instead of a black one? The logs are also more white than brown. All the colors seem to be present and okay. But you just said they're not. I don't know. So we got lots of plans. And I'd like to thank all the chatters, and all the people.
Come out to Grinkers.
Yeah, come out to Grinkers. Join us.
I'll buy you a $1 beer or a $1 sandwich.
I'll buy you 2 $1 beers.
Yes. You can go out to
no sandwich.
Go out to Rocky Mountain, Smoky Mountain, whatever it is, Pizza Factory with us, because that's where I will be. I loves it there.
I'll go to that.
Me too. Man. I don't even know what you're talking about.
What? It's behind Grinkers. Oh, it's fantastic pizza.
No, I didn't do that. I ate at the sushi place.
Sushi?
Yeah, there's like a Chinese restaurant on one of the ends of the...
Do you know where the candy store is?
Sushi. I love sushi.
No.
What do you mean?
I thought they got rid of the candy store.
Well, you leave Grinkers and then you kind of like walk, like you're walking towards a McDonald's, and then there's like a bridge that crosses to the other side. There's like a giant candy store on the left, right as soon as you cross the bridge.
I like candy.
I'll have to take your word for it.
We'll go over there, buddy. We'll go over there. I know all the hot spots there.
Yeah, I know that. I was mostly watching John and Joe fall down on their skateboards.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it happened.
That's funny. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for this season of Arcade Radio. What do you
It's
guys?
Awesome.
No.
Thanks for inviting me to this.
Thanks for doing the show with me, guys. This has been... I've been thinking about doing it for a long time. Probably mulled it over for a good 10, 12 months before I actually called Dan up one day and said, look, we got to do this.
I remember that.
And I said, I have this stuff. I'm ready to go. Now is the time. And we just pulled the trigger. And it ended up working out. And I know Mark and I had talked a little bit about it too. And so inviting you after you were on was just a natural thing to do. And I think we've had some good rapport and some good banter, and I look forward to next year.
Next year?
Well, next season, which starts at the end of October. We're going to be having an episode. It'll be on a Thursday. It'll be on the last week of October. So that puts it at the 26th.
Where Kelsey will be our guest. You heard it here first. Kelsey will be our first guest.
Well, you guys know the drill. So this is Arcade Radio Season 1. Signing off. Thanks again for listening in to the Double R's Arcade Radio. Please join us in the conversation anytime at arcaderadio.com. Email us at react@arcaderadio.com and call and leave comments and questions on that game line. We know Bob leaves messages, but somebody else could go ahead and leave us.
Do it, for God's
612.
Yes. Good Lord.
Yeah. 612-548-GAME. That's 4263. And follow us on the Facebook and on the Twitter and, listen in. We'll see you next season.
No pants.
No pants.
Pants mode off.
Subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, and SoundCloud.
Listen to us while driving, but pay attention to what you're doing.
Do not text and drive. Do not Google and drive. You shouldn't Google while you drive.
Especially good when flying on airplanes. Unless you're a pilot, then don't do that.
Oh, this song makes me want to get down.
Maybe we'll have a new song next season.
Who knows?
The Electro-Funk version.
Yeah.
There's a guitar.
A harder medic. What was that?
If the horns and the guitar come in.
I don't remember this part.
My solo's coming up.
It's the horn section.
I don't think I've ever heard this.
Yeah, I like. Ooh. You hear the beat drop right there?
We have to play this live sometime.
We should do it at Grinkers. We'll do like a dance party, put like a disco ball up, and just get out there and be wacky.
Let's just get recorders.
Dance around like Pied Pipers. Oh yeah. The last guitar solo.
It's very disco-y here. I didn't even know it.
Yeah. This is a big finish.
Oh, totally worth it.
So,
are we clear?
Well, we are now